Shally. I'd like to welcome in Stephen Combs. We're talking Inspector Gadget, and mainly we're talking Apple, which seems to be taking over the world.
We've featured a lot of Apple here lately.
We have.
We've done iPod accessories and some other things. And about a month ago, I featured something called the Airport Express, which would let us stream our music from iTunes to a receiver in our home. Well, Apple's done it again. They have created what they call the Apple TV. The Apple TV will do for video what the Airport Express did for audio. So this Apple TV, what it'll do is allow us to move music, audio, TV shows, movies, and photos from iTunes onto a high-definition television. That's what's kind of important for everybody to know. This will only work with the newer high-def televisions. It won't work on a standard older television.
Tell us how this works. We're looking at the port basically right here, which basically makes this whole thing work. This is the brain. Go ahead and explain what this does.
Well, let's turn it around because that'll help us a little bit. So what we would do is basically this needs to be on a network in your home. So you need a wireless network or a wired network. There's an Ethernet port here if you want to go wired. You plug it in.
Plastic cable goes right there.
Exactly. There is a USB connection which is reserved for future use, as they say, and then you have the HDMI component cable right here, and then you have the component cables. So that's where you need the HD TV connection. Recommend the HDMI because you get audio and video off a single plug, so that's nice. So once you've got that hooked up, what you do is you go back into iTunes, turn this on. iTunes will say, hey, there's a new Apple TV on your network. So then what you'll do is you'll say, okay, I'd like to sync my movies, my music, my photos, and there's a 40 gig hard drive in this thing. A lot of people don't know that. There's a 40 gig hard drive. Whenever you say that, it starts sending all that information to the Apple TV. Then you just simply go back to your TV, take your handy-dandy Apple remote here, and then you go through the menu interface finding what you want to watch. So if you've got that episode of 24 you missed on Fox 7, you can watch it
I missed it last week, of course.
There you go. You can download it from iTunes for $1.99, catch up, and then come back and watch it next week on Fox 7 Live.
Basically, this is a great way to move all of your things on your iPhone, iPhone not out yet, but will be out.
Got that on your mind, don't you?
Your iTunes, your pictures, your music, and a lot of people don't realize this. I don't think it's been promoted as much as their music, but television shows.
Television shows, exactly.
You move that onto your high def, and this is how it's moved over there.
Exactly. And now, you know, I don't know about you, but I do not want to watch a television show on a computer monitor. It's just not, that's not my comfort zone. No. I want to kick back in a recliner, back in bed before I go to bed, and I want to watch some television. And this takes it to that level. The other nice thing that people need to consider, too, is if you have a lot of family photos, and you know, almost everybody has them digitally now.
Great way to organize it with a huge screen.
Organize it, put it on a large screen. You can share it with the entire family. So it's a great way to work.
Kind of an off-topic question, but not really. Let's say you've been with Microsoft the whole time, and you're really starting to get into this Apple. You want the iPhone, you want the iTV now, and you want the iPod, and you want to switch. Is it an expensive switch to switch all that hardware to go to Apple?
Well, one of the things that Apple will tell you first of all is that they have one of the Macs called a Mac Mini. A Mac Mini is it's a smaller machine. It's about $5.99. It looks like this. It's just a little bit taller, and you can use all of your peripherals that you have, your monitor, your keyboard, and you can make the switch quite easily. But one of the things they've done, especially with something like the Apple TV, is you'll notice it's Mac and PC. Okay, the iPhone will be available with software for the PC as well. So this just uses iTunes. We can download iTunes for a Windows PC, or we can use the Mac. So we can use either one. So making a switch isn't a requirement to go to some of their consumer products. It does make the experience nicer, I will say that, being an Apple fanboy myself. Everything just kind of works easier. So, you know, there are upgrade routes for you to go, switching, as they say.
Real quick question coming up with that iPhone. I know it comes out in around June.
June 11th is what was recently announced this week.
How good do you think the camera will be inside that phone?
The camera we're hearing is going to be a 1 or 2 megapixel. We don't know for sure, so it's not going to be a real high grade quality.
So don't buy the phone if you're
I wouldn't consider it. I'd look at one of the smaller cameras like we featured a couple of weeks ago, a nice pocket camera with 5 to 6 megapixel
But
range.
in terms of organizing with the nice touch screen and the music, it's...
Yeah, that's going to be nice being able to share a lot of your content portably. So we're all looking forward to that.
Real quick, let's go over how much this is, where you can buy it, and installation.
Okay, $299. You can buy it at the Apple Store. Most consumer retailers, I think Best Buy is going to be carrying it locally. Computers Plus here in town is an Apple retailer. I would assume that they have them. Installation, very easy. You need to make sure that you have a wireless network in your home. Wireless G or N is kind of a requirement for the streaming.
G or N and a high-def TV.
And a high-def TV. That's the key thing. Looking for the HDMI or component inputs.
Stephen, as always, we appreciate the time.
All right. Appreciate it, Sean.
You bet. Stay with us.